Today, we are going to be building an AI-powered client portal using Softr and Zapier. We're going to give everyone a little bit, maybe 2 minutes, to come on in to the room. But when you're here, let us know where you're tuning in from, city and state, country, whatever it may be. From Berlin, hello, Claudia. Hello, Sam.
Yeah.
Welcome to this wonderful morning build session.
Yes. Great to be here. I'm looking forward to this.
We got some really cool stuff for you today. We're going to be using Softr's latest blocks matched with Zapier's latest AI agents coming together to enrich your client portal experience. We're going to be building three different things, but really we're just going to be touching on the tip of the iceberg for what can be done with both of these platforms. So it's going to be a great introduction to both while also using them in creative ways that can hopefully get the creative juices going and inspire you for your next build. Awesome. I'm also going to put out a couple polls here. First one is who has used Zapier before? So let's figure out in the audience who's our Zapier folks, who's our Software folks, where's your interest level or your skill level in each. We have Zapier coming out, and then we're going to follow up with Software here. Looking forward to see where you guys are at. For those that don't know, Zapier recently launched AI agents. When was it, Bryce?
Well, it was technically a year ago, but we sort of realized the branding, the word needs to be agents because that's exactly what it is. So that was earlier this year, just kind of repositioning it as agents.
Yeah, and we recently at Softr just had a big marketing launch a couple weeks ago where we launched our new navigation, our new tables, our new user blocks, and made everything just a lot more modern and beautiful. So really excited to bring those two for you together today. It looks like we have a real mixed audience, Bryce. We have just about medium everywhere across the board. So we have beginners, intermediate, and a lot of power users here for both tools. So that's fantastic. Great to see it.
Nice.
Awesome. Texas, Frankfurt, India, California, Switzerland, Netherlands. Awesome. Awesome.
All over.
Well,
Got the world.
why don't we get started with it?
Let's
Sound
do
good?
it. Yeah.
Awesome. So for the agenda today, first we're going to go over our mission, talk about what we're building. Then we're just going to get right into building. We're going to build most of this live. There was some stuff that we did ahead of time just so we didn't have to worry about credentials and stuff on the live stream. But this is an interactive session. If you guys have questions, put them in chat. We will do our best to get to you. And at the very least, we'll do a Q&A at the end as well. And so our mission today, should we choose to accept it, which we're going to accept, is we're going to build three different things. All right. The first thing is we're going to create a client portal in Softr. And this client portal is going to be for an advertising agency where you have an agency and they're managing clients and projects for those. And we want to automatically fetch additional data for that new client. So I go into the agency and I say, hey, we just landed a new client. All right, so we're going to create that in Softr. And then Bryce is going to set up some Zapier actions in the background where once that new client is created, we're going to go and fetch a bunch of information to enrich that client and add that information into our database. So that way, when we go to that client record in Softr, we just see like a lot more data and it's a lot more rich of an experience and good context for our team. Second part is we are going to create a upcoming meetings display in Softr. So for each of the projects, you could see upcoming meetings for that client. And then we want to automatically have an email sent to us for upcoming meetings showing us the preparation for those meetings. So for example, hey, JJ, you have a meeting coming up with this client. You're going to talk about this project. Here are some things you should be prepared of, or here are some deadlines coming up or whatnot. So working on creating an AI agent behavior to help us with automated meeting prep like that. And then finally, we're going to create some kind of superhero or godlike view where the agency owner can go into the client portal, open up a Zapier Chrome extension, and just start chatting with it. And it will fetch data from the database and respond to you, letting you know, whatever project, whatever client you have questions about, fetching everything, making it really easy for agency owners just to get in there and chat with all of their data. Bryce, did I miss anything?
No, that's it, man. It'll be fun to live build this. Everyone will kind of be along for the ride and you'll see kind of the twists and turns as we work through it. So, yeah, looking forward to
Awesome.
it.
Awesome. Well, without any further ado, I'm gonna just pull up my screen and we're gonna get started building the softer side of this. So give me a second here as I pull up my screen, and here we are. Awesome. All right, so here we are in Softr. This is our studio. For those that haven't built with Softr before, we have a block premise where you could just click on that block and adjust the blocks accordingly. And what you're seeing right now is our client portal template. And so I went into Softr. I started with a template. I clicked on client portal, and I use this template right here. Now, the cool thing about using this template is it also comes with the Airtable base and all the demo data. And for those that are just getting started with app building, this is really helpful because it shows you all of the demo data and the relationships and the structures for that database, and also how Softr likes that data to be formatted to read it easily in Softr. So if you're just getting started in Softr, definitely check out a template, bring in the database, see the relationships, kind of reverse engineer that. I think that's going to give you a head start, a good head start. Otherwise, we have this template started, so we're going to continue with it. And over here in the pages section, I can see all my different pages here that I have available to me. I'm going to start in my dashboard page. And right away, we have this block here. I'm going to delete it. I'm going to build it with you real quick because I think it just looks great. And it's a kind of a workaround that not many people know about. So quickly, we see our different blocks here. I'm going to go in and I'm going to add a new block. I'm going to go to static hero, and I'm just going to grab this hero block. From there, I can just get rid of this text, get rid of this text, get rid of this button, and then add a background image of my choice. And so I can grab something like that, or I can grab a stock footage as well. And maybe I just type in something like agency, and we'll find something that looks good. Maybe we'll go with that. And not quite there, right here. And we got our background image up and about. So now we have that nice banner image you could put anywhere. All right. And the number one thing that we want to do right now is make it so we can create a new client in Softr. All right. And so I'm on my dashboard page. And if I want to go into, I got to figure out where I'm going to add a new client. Now, when you add a new client, usually you do it in some kind of like a client's listing page or client's detail page. And in this case, we have a client's page here. And we're using a list block. And we've mapped this data to Airtable. So we have the data right here in our users and companies table, company table right there. And we're just simply showcasing it here. And then we in Softr have adjusted the fields that we want to display. So we can go in there and we can add more fields. If we want to show their bio, we could do that as well or whatnot. Um, in this case, there wasn't a bio yet because we are going to enrich that later on. Anyways, so we're here and we have this add client button. And in Softr, we have a terminology called action buttons, and we can go in there and add new buttons to create new actions or new things. And in this case, it's an add client, so it's an add record. And I'm just asking for it to offer for me, the user, the input, the company name, and the logo. I can add more things, like if I want to include more fields for additional things, I could just check those on. But for now, I think that's going to be pretty good. And so if I go to preview this, it will bring us to our sandbox environment, our test environment. And now here we are in this test environment. And actually, I am logged in as Olivia, who is an admin user. And I think that's important to note because the agency, this is Olivia, this is the admin of the agency logging in, but also clients can also log in to view their portal details as well. And those clients would only see projects related to them. Olivia, because she's on the agency side, sees all projects. So Olivia, as the admin, has the ability to view the projects and also add new clients. Okay. Now, we just set up this action button for add new records where we're asking for a company name and logo. We're not actually quite ready for this to go yet because we need to switch over to Zapier to create now the data enrichment automations. So once we add this new client, more information will be updated, such as maybe the industry, the size, the website, the bio, the amount raised, all that data that we're not asking for here, Zapier is going to find automatically for us, save to this database, and then we'll display back in Softr. That sound good? Yeah. All right, Bryce, why don't you take it over on the Zapier side and build our first behavior?
Yeah, let's do this. And that's looking slick. Yeah, that portal is, I like all those updates. It's looking good,
Cool.
JJ. All right.
The best part is it's pretty easy to build.
So easy. Love no code. Cool. All right. So yeah, I'm gonna take us through doing a bit of a quick overview of agents, and then we'll get right into building it out so you can see how everything works. So coming into Zapier, in the left-hand side, you're gonna see agents. There's a whole bunch of products here. Agents is in beta right now, but it's extremely powerful, built on Zapier's platform. So it has access to all of those integrations, all the apps, all that power, which is wonderful. So when we come in here, I'm going to go ahead and just create a brand new agent here. And there's a handful of templates, but we're going to just build this one from scratch, and we'll call it the client agent for now. And if you've used, ChatGPT or other AI like that, it's a similar interface where you have chat here, and you can have this interactive dialogue with your agent if you wish. But the real power comes when you go into this configure tab. The configure tab is where you're going to start setting up things like data sources. So being able to query out to one of these sources, and there's more coming. But you query out and the agent can look at the entire data set and like pull in insights and things like that. So data sources are here. And then behaviors. This is where we're going to tell the agent what to do when that new client is added into the portal. So I'll walk you through the different parts here as we build this out so you can see how it works in real time. The trigger. So if you're familiar, and about half of you or more have used Zapier, maybe you've used automation, there's usually a trigger involved. Agents are no different in that way. They need to be prompted to take action. However, with agents, you can do it in a few different ways. You can prompt an agent to start working, or trigger an agent on demand. So when you're chatting with the agent, you can click in and say, hey, go ahead and run this behavior. Here's the data I want you to go run it with. You can also schedule it to happen. So if you're doing like weekly reports, or we'll see in a minute when we get into that meeting prep use case that JJ mentioned, we'll be using Schedule by Zapier to make sure we have the next day's meetings. But you can also tap into thousands of different apps, right? And so for this one, we are wanting to trigger on Airtable when there's a new record. And then you specify which base, what table to work with. So we're working on that client portal build with Zapier. And so that is this piece right here that JJ showed you. This is what we're using to trigger. And then we are saying, hey, the company's table, anytime there's a new client record there, go ahead and start this behavior. The next bit is getting into the instructions. This part is, arguably the hardest, in that you do have to think through, what sort of prompt you want. A lot of times I use ChatGPT to work back and forth to figure out exactly how I want to structure this. But for this one, it's fairly simple. So we're going to take each new client that's added in and go research the company to find a list of information. So I have it listed out here. I'm just going to paste it in. So we're going to find the industry, the size, the address, website, bio, and funding amount raised. All you have to do is list it out, and then you just tell the agent to then update the record with the details. We'll punch in the options for certain fields like industry to make sure that that is exactly how we want it. So industry and size are kind of pre-formatted. So we just want to make sure the agent knows about that. We put that in, and then this is where we can add a data source or an action. And the way we do that, I'll do it up here so it's just a little more visible, is a /, and then you can type in A to get to actions. And then here you are searching for the app to add in the action. For this one, we are literally updating a record. And this is so important with AI, right? Like we need to give it guardrails, a focus on what to do and access levels. I tell a lot of people when you're working with agents that it's just like delegating work to an employee. So when you're giving them instructions to go do something, they also need the proper access to make the thing happen. And also you can restrict the access just so that no mistakes happen or nothing goes off the rails. So to sort of restrict the action, that's when you go into the settings gear icon and you tell the agent specifically what it can do and what it has freedom to do on its own. So here, there is a specific base that we're looking at, that client portal. That's where we want the agent to live and breathe. The table, this is where we are going to be updating the company's table. So we want to make sure we just specify exactly where we want this to happen. But then when it comes to the record, the company name, the industry, the size, the address, the website, we're letting the agent generate the value. It's going to go find information and decide what to put in here. The only other bits I might want to tell the agent not to touch is sort of those relational fields like contacts. Maybe, don't worry about that. Don't worry about specific projects yet. And for admin access, this is just to make sure Olivia that JJ showed can see what she needs to see. We're putting that there. And then no linked or referenced meetings. So getting this granular with how the agent works with the action is super important. But once we have that set up, all you do is click save. You can test the behavior. I won't do that now, but it will test things and show you a preview before it actually takes any action. You can communicate back and forth with the agent to say, hey, no, you didn't get this quite right. Can you adjust this? And it'll add that feedback into the instructions and adjust it as you go. The testing process is really different and interactive with agents, which is great. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this on.
One thing I want to emphasize is just the instructions that you gave this agent. It's very much like if you were working with an assistant, like a human, it's like that they don't know how to do this. Just walk them through step by step how to do it for the first time and speak to them like they are a human and in plain text, which Zapier made it so easy to do. And, that's kind of that's where it is. Instead of having, many different and if statements and do this and then, which is could be complicated, this really simplifies it into plain text.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we may or may not get into it later on, but the real power and where we're trying to push this is to give the agents the ability to make decisions on their own and coming up with, well, what are those decisions we want to give it freedom to make. That's where it gets kind of interesting, right? I won't go into the weeds too much here, but it's sort of like, hey, if you think this client, maybe as an admin, you have a bunch of clients coming in and you just want to know if there's a particular client that's should be given a little bit more focus or whatever. You could tell the agent, hey, if you think this client's important and I should know about it, send me an email. And then it decides kind of how to do that. And you can kind of shape that over time. So
I
won't
think
get into
that's
that too much, but just the thought there.
yeah, just I want to quickly add on to that because there's a lot of confusion around what is like an automation and an
Mhm.
agent. And I think that's a good example. Like an automation is very defined. You have a string of events, if and then, and there's really no fuzzy area. If it's outside of that fuzzy area, the automation probably just fails or, it doesn't work that well. Agents understand fuzzy areas very well. They can think, they can reason, and then they could take actions with those tools that they have available in the way that they think is best per the instructions you give it, right? And so that's where I think this is such a big up level of just being able to say, oh, we got a bunch of tools. Now you go off and think of what to do best with these tools now that we've given you instructions.
Yeah, 100%. It's a spectrum about all the work that we need to get done from automation to agent and the fuzzy areas. And so agents can do a lot of the work. And so with this one, it does searches, and we can see that in a moment. So So yeah, JJ, do you want to? I'll kind of hand it back to
Oh,
you to add a client in, and we'll take a look at
sure.
this.
Yep. Cool. So coming back to softer side, that workflow is live, correct?
Yep, I just turned it on.
All right, cool. So on the softer side, now that workflow is connected to this Airtable base, and that Airtable base is what receives this new record. So when I go and create a new record here, we're going to go with just HubSpot to keep it easy. And I have a quick little HubSpot logo here. Here we go. And we're going to add that. And so once I add that into the database, it's going to take a little bit here to go and fetch that data. So I'm going to go and show you how I would then display that data over in Softr. And so now we have that new client created. And with Softr, that new client is created, and then we can go to what we call a client detail page. And this client detail page shows information about that client. And so if I go over into Softr, I can go to the client detail page, and I can adjust this a little bit. And right now I see that this block right here is visible to admins, whereas this block is visible to logged in users. And I think that's nice because the admins, maybe they want to see more information, maybe like internal notes about this client or whatever that only admins would be able to see. But actually, when the user logs in, that's just a client, they won't be able to see that data, right? And Software does a really good job with visibility settings like that, making sure that you can adjust the data to be seen for the specific logged in user, all right? And now in this case, I am going to go over here and I'm just going to add a couple more fields. I'm going to say, you know what? I want you to show me the bio. And I want this bio to be, maybe we'll kind of keep it as like a rich text field. And I also want you to show me the amount raised. And for the amount raised, we can make it a tag field. All right. And it's as simple as just clicking these on, right? Like if I want to adjust this, we can start to see data as, or actually, no, this is a different record, but we could start to adjust this and more data will be coming in. And so over here, I'm going to do the same thing for the admin view because I am logged in as the admin. I'm going to go in there and say, all right, I want to show me the bio. We're going to make it a rich text. The amount raised. Let's see. We can keep that as a text. That would work fine. Let's see. And size. And that should be good. And so now when I go back over to Airtable, we'll see if we have that in yet. We're still waiting for it. So we'll come back to it. Um, and we will, as we're waiting for that data to come in, why don't we start working at number 2? And number 2 is going to be, all right, now that we have these projects, we want to be able to add upcoming meetings in like a visual way to see the meetings that we have coming up. So I'm going to be working with the Billboard Blitz project in Software. And this is what we call a detail page. And you see up here, we have a detailed record. And so you can add a item detail block onto the page. And when you add that item detail block onto the page, it allows you to easily click on that one project. And when you click on that one project, it's going to load a page with data specific to that one project. And then down here, we have linked records. So these are records that relate to this project. So for example, these team members belong to this project and these tasks belong to this project. And this is a Kanban board, so I can drag and drop these and it will be updated with their statuses. Now for this, I'm in my project detail page and I have a item detail block like I suggested. And then I'm using a new block called our tab container. And with our tab container, we can go in there and create a ton of different tabs to make it really easy for you just to switch between, right? Now, what we want to do is we want to add a new tab, and this is going to be our meetings tab. And I'm going to actually bring this tab all the way up to the top so we have our meetings right there. Now, within that tab, I'm going to add a new block, and I want this block to be our calendar block. Now, our calendar block comes with a couple different presets. We could see it by the month, by the week, by the day, or the agenda view. And we could build this however we want. Right now, we're going to do the month view, and we start to see that calendar come in. And now we need to map this data accordingly back to our table in Airtable. And so over here, what we have is our meetings. Oh, look, it just popped in right there. Beautiful. I'll come back to that in a second. So we have our meetings table here that shows a list of all of our upcoming meetings with the related projects and the clients. Okay. And so for this, I'm going to say, let's map it to our meetings. And now we need to do something a little bit more advanced. And that more advanced setting would be a conditional filter. Now, right now it's showing all meetings, but we don't want to show all meetings. We only want to show meetings that relate to this project, right? And so for that, we could say, let's set up a conditional filter and say, right now it's accessing the meetings table. And so whether it's, let's say the client includes any of the current records company, which is the same thing. The terminology is a little bit different, but this is essentially saying that this meeting table right here, it's going to show only the meetings that contain the company of the page that we're on right now, right? So that way we can have events that only show events for this project. All right, now let's pop back over. Now that this has been updated, let's pop back over and look at our project details for the HubSpot enrichment that we made. So we're gonna go to projects, clients, go to HubSpot. Now we see that URL, we see the tag, and there it is. Logo, HubSpot, URL, description, how much they raised, their size. And again, we only asked it to create these two records right here. Because of Zapier's AI agents, it went and found everything else for us and gave us a real nice preview. And in Softr, we can go and adjust that if we want. It's up to you. You can adjust this. Oh, a thing that you'll know is with this action button, it automatically creates the modals for you. For our software developers out there, you know that you normally need to manually create these modals, etc. By just setting up the action button, the modals will automatically create it. So saves you a lot of time there. All right. So Bryce, how does number one look? Are we good there? Mission accomplished?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. We could
Yeah.
take a look under the hood, or we could also go into client meeting prep.
Cool. Yeah, that was really great. I think number one worked out well. A question in here is why use Zapier, not NAN? You could use whatever you're comfortable with, but I think what I really love about Zapier, and I'll let Bryce answer as well, is you saw how easy that was, right? You don't need to really overcomplicate these things. Zapier has a lot of power and a lot of flexibility. And just by that 5-minute setup, we now have this enrichment process going. Anything else you want to add, Bryce?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people building and making these things, right? I'd say, with Zapier, the 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 platform it's being built on gives it that leg up, in regard to how many apps and integration it has. Also, we're just in the business of making no code very easy to do. And so, like I said, you saw the UI. Um, Give it a try. The best thing you can do is try it out. See which one you think is best for you and what will work for you.
Awesome. One more here from Kyle asking, what is the source that the agent was using to fetch this data? Was it the web? Now, you could set up a data source so the agent reads that data source. But in this case, we didn't have a data source, so it was fetching the web. Right, Bryce?
Yeah, and I could show what it looks like too. I can show that in a minute when we jump back in.
Cool. Cool. All right. So let's continue on here. We are on number 2 now. And number 2, we're talking about adding meetings and getting ready for our meeting prep. So we're back in our project detail page here. We now have our meetings block coming up. And it's showing a little bit more meetings that I like. But anyways, we still have the meetings here. And we could, oh, that's right. I didn't set up if I go into here, sorry, I'm going to come back for a second. I need to set up how we're actually reading this. So in this case, I need to map the data to the data. So meeting title, start time, so date of the meeting, and end time. And now this is going to show the calendar. There it is. Perfect. Upcoming. Great. Now it's going to tell the calendar when you click on it, what data should I display? So now I'm going to come back, refresh this in the conditional form, conditional filters, and it will now take effect. Now we have the upcoming meetings, and we see that we have campaign reporting coming up on this date. All right. And so this is specific to this project. We also have project kickoff on the 28th. If you want to go to the next month, Let's see if we have anything on the next month. And we do. We have some upcoming things on the next month as well. All right. So now we know that we have these upcoming meetings for this project. Now we want to build a intelligent way for us to automatically prepare for these meetings to build a really enriching experience. And that's where I hand it back over to Bryce.
Cool. For a second there, I was like, oh man, Billboard Blitz. So many meetings.
They
Just
were busy.
stressed out.
It's hard getting a billboard these days.
Yeah. Cool deal. All right. So let's jump back in real quickly just to answer that question about how that client enrichment agent worked. So we can see here what an agent does when a trigger happens. So we can see, hey, the new record came in, there's HubSpot. And then we can see it did a Google search. So it decides kind of what results from the Google search to go and glean information from. And that's where it's just so helpful and time saving, right? And then it goes ahead and updates the record. So like JJ said, you can add data sources, and we're going to be doing that for this next one so that you can see how that works. And with data sources, there's a lot more this agent can do. So let's go ahead and set up this behavior. So every day at the end of the day, maybe 4 p.m., we want to take a look at the next day's meetings and get sort of that update for them. So just like the other one, just like any automation or agent you're creating, you got to decide on the trigger. So this one is a schedule. So we have schedule by Zapier here, and there's lots of different frequencies you can use, but we're going to be doing this every single day at a specific time. We're going to do 4 p.m. There it is. We'll click save, and then we're going to type this out. It's not very complex. We're going to just say to the agent, hey, look at any meetings I have tomorrow. Of course, right now, doesn't know where to look. So we'll get there in a moment. But when they do look, when this agent does look, we're going to have it note the clients I have meetings with. We're going to have it, look at all of the projects, project updates, milestones, the tasks for each of those clients, and then compile a quick status report on each client's projects. Pretty basic. And then we just need it to deliver your findings in an email for me to help.
And this could be a weekly cadence. It could be whatever you want. We're just using the tomorrow example just for this example.
Yep, exactly. All right, so that's the bulk of it. But now we need to add a couple things. One, it needs to look at that Airtable data source to see the meetings. That's the source of truth here. So we're adding a data source, and we will click add data source. And then we're choosing Airtable. Of course, you could choose all of these different pieces. Like even Zoom is pretty cool. If you have recordings in Zoom, it can go look at all the recordings. It's pretty impressive. So we'll go to Airtable. We'll select that base that we have. And we're going to go ahead and have it just scan across every sort of table that we have there, just to give it all the information it could possibly need we don't need users, but that works. So I'm going to click to sync that. So that will already sync. It's already synced up. It's so quick. And then the only other action, and just so we can see this clearly, I'll just label it data source. You don't have to do this, but just for your sake, so you can see kind of what it looks like. The only action we need it to be able to do is deliver the findings in an email. So this is an action. We're going to use Zapier's email app that is out of the box. You can send an outbound email. And we just need to tell the agent, hey, just make sure you're sending this to me. I'll put my email address here just to have it there. And then I'm going to choose to have it be in HTML. Make it look nice. The subject line, the attachment, the from name, the body, all of that, like we'll just let the agent decide how it wants to do that. So we'll click save. And then for this behavior, I'm going to go ahead and just test it. Obviously, it's not 4 p.m. yet. So we'll walk through how this would work. So it will go ahead and assume that it's 4 p.m. right now, and it'll trigger the agent. And then we can see here, it's going to go ahead and check the meetings scheduled for tomorrow, February 27th. And this is where it's analyzing the data source. It's so great. It's amazing. It just knows there's a data source here. It knows what it has access to. So it's going to go and analyze it. It's not only going to look at the meetings, it's going to go analyze all of the client names, the projects, the project updates, everything that is in this table that I gave it access to, it will go analyze. Milestones, project updates, everything here. So we'll let this run just for a minute, and we'll see how it kind of outputs the results. Let's see if there's anything else I can touch on
We do
while this
have
is
one
going.
question
Yeah,
while we're waiting for this. I'm going to bring it live. This is from Florian. Why don't you take a stab at it, Bryce?
sure. Okay. I'm about to adapt an AI automation in make.com, and it seems a challenge to pull all the data across
Data.
different Airtable tables in order to push it to an OpenAI module. Do I get it right that a Zapier agent would also solve all the pain of transforming data between make modules? Simply pull the data without any need to aggregate and iterate and what not. So let me see. So I don't have the experience in make to know exactly what pain you're talking about.
Mhm.
Um, JJ, do you have like a sense for this problem
I
specifically?
think you kind of just showed off that you can bring in a data source and have it look at all the different tables, and then the agent can read those different tables in the way that I think that he was looking to do in this question here.
Okay.
So I do think that you could do something like this, but depending on your scenario, you might just have to, try it out and see how it goes.
Yeah. I mean, with a classic AI automation, right? You have those specific steps, and each step is sort of independent of the other steps. If you're going to like carry over information, you're mapping things. Um, Agents gets rid of that. I mean, a lot of times, instead of creating a Zap, if I do have a classic AI automation, I might just create it in Agents. There's an overlap there. And it gives you that ability with a data source to take that data source and apply it to the whole behavior. The goal of this agent, what is it trying to do? It will apply the data source intelligently into the overall objective. It's so easy. It's crazy. So, I
Mhm.
mean, we even see it over here. It's like it's retrieving all of the data based on this this client, right? Are these two clients where there are meetings scheduled? So it looked and saw exactly what meetings were scheduled, which is amazing. Of course, this is all happening automatically normally at 4 p.m., right? So there's a lot of data that it is looking up. Right now, it took everything and it's just summarizing the results, making sure it's going to look really good for the email that's going to be sent. So it should just take a moment. I don't know if there's any last question or anything we can look at right before this finishes up.
I think it's just one of those things where now that the AI is doing work for us, it's like, well, I get a coffee. Well, do I spin up a different agent task and do multiple agent tasks at the same time? Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, it's wild. It's like as I've been building out agents, it's really been like a mirror to my work and making me think through like is this work relevant? Is this impactful? Like, do I really want to be doing this? Like, does an agent need to be doing this? And it's such a good, it's almost like writing, it clarifies your thoughts. And in this way, it sort of clarifies your work, which is pretty powerful.
Kaio asked, I guess the secret to how you will create a prompt that works for the specific task you're looking to get done. So, in the lines of, finding more success with agents really starts with your prompt. You need to be a good communicator because you're telling this thing what to do in the exact steps, and the order of it really matters. So, when you're working with agents, be as specific as possible Also, agents really like to have like a specific task. So if you need multiple things done, I think it's best to create multiple behaviors and keep each task for that one agent. And then that agent can work with the other agents, but really make it so like this one agent has this specific task and you're really good at writing emails. And this is what your task is going to be, that kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, ask anyone who's managed people,
Mhm.
delegating is a tough skill. But that's exactly, there's like two areas of agents. One is delegating work that you've already done and being able to communicate it clearly. And then the other is like pushing the boundaries of what agents can do. And there's sort of that's the two ways I think about it: delegating my own work and pushing the boundaries. And both are hard. They're like hard skills to get right. So everyone on this call is uh, the step ahead. You're in like the elite, just looking at how this stuff is built and be thinking about it. So,
Yeah,
all
it's
right, it
it's
looks like it
almost
has.
there.
Yeah, we're close. There's a lot of data I asked it to go look at and summarize. Um, and so we'll have this prepare the email. I think while we're waiting for this, we could probably talk about the last bit. I don't know,
Number
JJ. I
three.
could probably just get right into the Chrome extension, or is there anything else
Sure.
you'd want to show?
Yeah, I'll show some stuff again, but why don't you get into the Chrome extension side of it?
Okay. All right. So yeah, what's really cool about agents is that there is that Chrome extension. And so when we are and I'll refresh this, when we're in a portal, it can access all of your agents right here in the browser. So, I could go to a specific project, and let's jump into this one. And from here, I could ask questions of this project. Maybe things like, let's see, um, let's open it up.
We could say something along the lines of, who are the project members? What are the tasks that we have coming up?
Hmm.
Any meetings that we have coming up or anything like that.
Totally. So, so I could say, for this project, what types of tasks are typically overdue? Maybe get a sense for, how this project lines up with something else. I could ask, like you said, it's like maybe, can you make a list of projects that have upcoming deadlines and add a task for me to review? And I could even in the chat add in a specific action if I want. So if I want it to add a task, maybe I'm using Todoist. And I go ahead and say, add, create task. And so within the sort of the specific uh, agent in the Chrome extension, you can add actions here, which make it even that more powerful. So we would have to wait until this is done, but on the fly, if you want to do actions or even add in new data sources, you can do that from the Chrome extension, or even trigger a behavior. Maybe there is a behavior that you have that is on demand. So that's one thing you can do. So we'll let this kind of work. And what's cool about this is you can navigate away and it'll still have the context of the conversation where it was. You can even close it out and it'll work. And so back here, we can see that this email had been generated, and when you're testing, you can click approve and sort of see how it how it runs.
Back on the Chrome extension side, just one point I want to clarify is it's really meant for the agency owner because in this case, we have given them permission to the whole database, and there are no rules for what data can be seen or not be seen in that way, right? So this specific scenario is really meant for those that have access to all the data and that you want to give them that access to. And it wouldn't be a good use case for your client to get set up with this specific thing.
Yeah, that's great to keep in mind. Yeah, for agents right now, it's sort of, imagine I'm that Olivia person, the admin, and I have my own agents that I've created for myself. every person, if they were to create their own agents, it would need to be specific to them, and that's how it would work. Agents really are that sort of internal tool. Clients wouldn't use agents. This would be for the agency and the employees there. So
Yeah.
all right, JJ, I want to make sure, because this is just kind of running and looking at the database. I want to make sure we
Sure.
do have time for any questions. So maybe
Sure.
we kind of shift gears here and see if we have questions we want to run through. What do you think?
Yeah. Yeah. And also in the background, let us know when you get that email. Is it going to send you the email?
Yeah, it should.
Cool. Awesome. Anyone have questions? Let us know. Put it in the chat. Generally, hopefully this showed you a great way for how to get started with Softr and how to integrate that into Zapier to really put together a full experience for client portals or really just any apps that you're looking to build. I'm going to bring back my screen for a second here while we wait for some questions to come in. But the thing I want to highlight here is with Softr's recent blocks on our navigation menu, we really have done a great job to make it look beautiful, but it's really easy to use. And if you want to go into a mobile menu, it comes down to a mobile experience there, and you could totally adjust this. And so it's easier than ever to build apps in Softr. These pages come automatically built for you when you create a new app. So automatically your authentication is configured, your account settings, the forgot password, all that boring stuff that is normally hard to build and to set up, where some of these AI coding platforms just it's a struggle to get there and whatnot. Like we just do automatically for you in a really nice and secure way. And with authentication, you can get into authentication here and you could just simply toggle what features you want. Like, do you want users to be able to log in? Do you want users to be able to sign up? Yes, but maybe you only want users that have that software domain to be able to sign up. So there's always a lot of ways that you can make software work for you. And a new thing that we just added is a one-time code. So if you don't want your users to have to remember a password, you could just make it so they enter their email. An email goes to their email with a login link and they can get in there too. So, really great stuff that we've added over at Softr in the last couple of weeks that really excited now to have in this beautiful modern experience of building. We do have a couple more questions, so let's get back to it with Bobby here. So how does metering work? How many operations are used to an agent-based workflow, or how do I need to set up a ChatGPT API key and the cost of AI searches attributed there? So a pricing related question with AI agents.
Yeah, great question. So it doesn't necessarily use Chat GPT. There's a mix of things happening behind the scenes that the Zapier Agents team is using to make all this happen. So there is Agents has its own pricing model and how it runs. So it does run based on activities, whether that's finding something in a data source, sending an email, whatever it might be. Those are called activities. There is a free plan that gives you access to all of the capabilities you saw. There's no kind of limit to it. Right now, Zapier Agents is in beta, so we're wanting to learn, get your feedback, and all that. So we've opened it all up for free. There's of course a paid plan that just increases the activities you're using and how that works. So check it out. I mean, if you just go to Zapier Agents pricing, you're gonna more or less see it.
One thing that I built for myself on the free plan with Zapier is every day it just checks my calendar and lets me know what meetings I have coming up the next day. And then also I built a Slack bot where I could type into Slack, it's going to hit that Zapier agent and it can schedule meetings for me. So I can say, hey, schedule a meeting with Bryce on Thursday at 3 p.m. And then it's going to schedule that meeting via Google Calendar and then email Bryce that meeting link to confirm it all via Slack using this agent functionality in Zapier, again, on the free plan. So there's a lot that you could do at a personal or professional level to help you just make your life easier. Data source can be any language. It's not just related to English. That shouldn't be a problem, right?
Correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool. Cool. So our mission for this was 3 different things. I think we have completed all 3 of those things. Just bring it back up real quick. Create a new client in Softr. Done. Automatically enrich that client with information about their background. We searched the web, used the Zapier's agent, filled in that, and now it's really simple. You just in Softr add 2 fields, and then Zapier finds all the rest of that information. And again, you can add more fields, whatever you need to. You can work to create a prompt that works with it to find that information for you. Number two, uh, show upcoming meetings in software using the calendar block and relate it to specific projects, and then automatically send meeting prep to the agency rep via email ahead of time. And finally, let agency owners with that Chrome extension go in there with God mode, superhero mode, and ask any questions via that chat bot. All three are done. Bryce, how you feeling?
Yeah, feeling good. In live demo fashion of a beta product, we might not have that email available, but I'm glad we got through this, and yeah, it was a lot of fun, man.
Awesome. I'm going to put a couple of links to get started here. Otherwise, anyone that joined or RSVP'd will get the live recording. This live recording will also be available on our Softr YouTube channel as well. So feel free to get started with Zapier agents and Softr. I just put the template for the client portal template in the demo as well. You can click there and get started. Otherwise, it's been a pleasure. You guys have been a great audience. Thank you for tuning in with us on this early morning build. If you want to see more of it, let either Bryce or I know. Otherwise, we will send you the recording. And thanks for tuning in.
Cool. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, JJ.
Thank you.